is the one who is Lord over us. Christ is our Lord. Every time we gather together in this room, we gathered to confess his lordship, to celebrate his lordship, and to submit to his lordship. We remind ourselves every single week when we gather together in this room that we have sacrificed the right to determine the direction of our lives. We do not determine where we live. We do not determine what we drive. We don't determine what we wear. We don't determine our plans, our dreams, our families, this or that. Christ determines these things. He is our Lord. We don't tack him on Sundays to the regular life we live here. No, our life has been abandoned to him. He is worthy of not just some of our worship. He's worthy of all of our worship, but not just our worship. He is also worthy of their worship. And this drives us. Their worship. What do you mean their? Who's they? Well, they is every single person in Birmingham who you know, who at this moment does not know Christ. Christ is worthy of all their worship, and that drives us. When we walk out of this building, we want to make the glory of Christ known to every single person in Birmingham because he is worthy of their worship. That's why we don't stop there. It's why we've got teams in Seattle right now in the Midwest, why we're about to next month send out a team in New York City, because we know there's a couple 100 million people in North America that are apart from Christ right now, and Christ is worthy of every single one of their worship. And that's why we're not going to stop there. It's why we're going to Africa, because there's 3,000 animistic tribes in Africa that are following animistic religions and spirits that completely ignore the one true God. And there is one true God, and he's worthy of all their glory. And it's why we're going to Japan and Laos and Vietnam, because there's 350 million Buddhists in those countries that are following Buddha's rules and Buddha's regulations, and Buddha is not worthy of their glory. Christ alone is worthy of all their glory. That's why we're going to India and Sri Lanka and Maldives and Nepal, because there's 950 million Hindus in those countries that are following more gods than you or I can even fathom. And there's only one God who is worthy of all their glory. That's why we're going to China and North Korea and Laos and Cuba, because there's over 1 billion people in those nations, communistic nations, that have grown up in atheistic philosophies that completely deny the existence of God. And there is a God who exists, and he is worthy of all their praise. And we want them to know he's worthy of all their glory. And that's why we're going to the tough places. That's why we're going to North Africa and the Middle East and Central Asia and Southeast Asia, because there's over 1.3, 1.4, 1.5 billion Muslims who are fasting and giving alms and making holy pilgrimages to Mecca and praying 5 times a day to a false God. And Jesus has died on the cross. He's risen from the grave, and he is ascended on high. He is alone worthy of all their glory. That's why we go to these places, because a people who believe that God is worthy of that kind of glory will give their lives making his glory known to the ends of the earth. So the question is, do we believe this?